See this? It can't run. It cannot run. I look like a homeless tennis player, but you know, some people have said it's a look, so the show must go on. Hello everyone, my name is Sean. I study PPE at Mansfield College, Oxford. I'm also from the Caribbean, so I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Not many people from Oxford are from Trinidad. There are definitely Caribbeans and obviously Africans who are very similar in our cultures. I'm basically surviving because, let's be honest, at Oxford all students do is just survive. I grew up in North London. I went to a state comprehensive school. It wasn't the best to get you into Oxford. We never had any Oxbridge teachers. Never had any students really who went to Oxford either, or Cambridge. So in that regard, it was quite tough. You never really had mentorship. But the school, they did what they could. They did their best. But what I'm really grateful for, and something that I'll never forget, is when you grow up in North London, when you grow up in any part of London, in a state comprehensive school in particular, the people you meet from different backgrounds, they have so many diverse cultures. It's something which is a life experience that not many people can have. In my household, I just grew up, always, calypso, soca playing, always eating Caribbean food. My auntie and uncle, they have a Caribbean place in North London selling Trinidadian food. So yeah, I've had a very Caribbean upbringing, traditionally West Indian. My grandma, she taught me from West Indian books in English and maths from very young. So yeah, I've had a very unique experience growing up. Being from an ethnic minority background, you do get the associated pressures of, being academically excellent from your family. Well, you tend to anyways, because I know in the Caribbean tradition, that is something that's very central. Education is key to success. So that was kind of drilled into me since I was younger. So now that I've got the offer, it wasn't really time to celebrate because I had to make sure I was going to get the grades to get into university. It was a be all or end all. I don't know where I would have been if I'd missed my offer. I think being an ethnic minority student, not having generational wealth, not having inheritance, you don't have a safety net, because it's up to you essentially to kind of pull your family out of the current disadvantages they face, the current struggles they face. And I think that holds true for many ethnic minority students when applying to Oxford. There's a very big fear of failure when it comes to that. And also, once you get there, what your life is going to be like. Do you have friends? Do you have people who can relate to your culture? Oxford is predominantly, historically and conventionally a white elitist institution. So being from an ethnic minority, that does come into play when you start thinking about your thoughts and fears. So in general, that was the type of things I was thinking about after I got my offer and wondering if this place would be for me. But luckily, I already kind of knew about the ACS. I knew I was applying to a very inclusive college. So in that sense, I wasn't too scared, but the fears still existed. So there's two types of experiences you can have when you go to Oxford or Cambridge. It's either in college, the in-college experience, or the out-of-college experience. So if I start with the in-college experience, it's actually been pretty calm. Like I said, Mansfield's one of the most progressive colleges in Oxford, and it is a safe place for people to express themselves, etc. It has done good in fostering an inclusive space for ethnic minority students. For example, one of the things that when you come to an institution like Oxford and Cambridge that ethnic minority students worry about and experience isn't necessarily just blatant racism, because if they're at Oxbridge, and if they are racist, they're going to be smart with it. They're not going to just be outright racist. Something that I've experienced, or I would assume to experience, is the kind of white ignorance that you get at the university. But because our college is choosing people from such diverse backgrounds, you don't really get that white ignorance in terms of white people homogenizing your culture or just brushing over it or making silly stereotypes. I think in that regard, they definitely got it pinned down really right. So in terms of college, maybe, some of the events and stuff aren't really for me because they don't really play the music I like. But at the same time, I'm lucky for my outer college experience because I have the African Caribbean Society where I go I mix with people from my culture. We have fun, we dance to music, etc. Not even just dance to music, we have sick events, guest speakers, serious intellectual conversations from our experiences. My personal experience at Oxford has been fine. I've only been here for two terms, remember, so it is definitely subject to change. But yeah, my college experience has been good. It's not going to just be like London. So I suggest that the Londoners or people from diverse backgrounds have to preempt that, have to get used to that. And you can learn a lot from them. They can learn a lot from you. So it's a good experience. It's a good transactional process if it's done correctly. And then my outer college experience is very good because I'm thankful for the ACS. I'm thankful for other minority societies because they definitely do a good job in that regard. If it weren't for the students taking initiative to kind of collectivize, it would be definitely a different story. So I think the institution has some stuff to do, but my actual experience, honestly, is great. When I'm at university, I only associate myself with inclusive environments, and because of that, I don't really have any negative experiences. But that does, I think, relate to a deeper issue. You see, my college is good for me, and then also when I'm not in college, I just go to ACS really, which is also good for me, because in both those environments, like I've said, it's very inclusive, and it's understanding of my culture. There's not ignorance at all. But when you go into the wider university, and once the college system fails for you as an ethnic minority, because you're literally one of the only ethnic minorities in a sea full of people from across England, from richer backgrounds, etc., then the kind of classist and racist dynamics come into play. And I would say they are commonplace in Oxford. Doesn't necessarily have to be so overt. It can be very covert, through microaggressions, etc. Classist and racist attitudes do show themselves. And I think that's what really kind of annoys me about Oxford, is that, when it comes to access work, it comes to us as ethnic minority students to be the face of Oxford, to sell their agenda, tell more people to come. But what they need to realise, and the institution needs to realise, is that access doesn't stop once we get our offers. Access has to continue on through our university experience to ensure that we have a good safety net, a good safeguarding system which puts our mental health first as ethnic minority students. I think if we really want to pass substantive solutions, the only logical solution is to actually ensure there's a greater amount of ethnic minorities in the decision-making level of the University of Oxford to implement solutions and initiatives which can actually help ethnic minorities. The lack of black provision and black tutors in Oxford in general, at the level of tutors, the level of decision making is dreadful. There needs to be more. There's no way you're going to pass substantive solutions unless you have black voice there. There's no way you can pass substantive solutions for the Asian or the Muslim community unless you have Asians or Muslims there. So I think that definitely needs to change. We pride ourselves at the University of Oxford for being the beacon of intelligence in the world, yet we don't have a diverse curriculum. For example, I'm a PPE student, and Black Marxist thought, political thought, is one of the most influential in the world, in history. There's not even a topic on it, which doesn't make sense. Black political thought needs to be taught. That definitely needs to change, because incorporating, different philosophies and subjects from people of African descent, Caribbean descent, Indian descent, Middle Eastern descent is all things that need to happen, because the scholarship of those communities needs to really be properly addressed, and the fact that they aren't is tragic. Don't be naive when you're applying to Oxford that you think it's going to be a fairy tale experience, because there's obviously ups and downs, but like any great journey, there's always going to be ups and downs. If you're an ethnic minority student who really wants to come to Oxford, do it. Nothing will ever change in Oxford unless the people like us are there to change it. Obviously, it shouldn't only be down to us. It should also be down to, like, you know, our counterparts, our white counterparts in particular, to help us advocate that change. But at the end of the day, unless the actual student body isn't, you know, mobilized, collectivized to really want that change, nothing's going to happen. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't pass up on an opportunity like an Oxford education just because there's obviously bad stuff. Look, this is real life. This is the life we live. The institutions that run our country, that will run Western countries, are predominantly white. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but we need to be there to make sure we put them in check when they slip up and do nonsense like evoking classist and racist attitudes. I've seen the power that ethnic minority students have when they come to Oxford and hold these people to account. Because at the end of the day, Oxford breeds future world leaders, and I don't want the current people that we have as world leaders still leading. I want to see you guys, I want to see all the ethnic minorities, people from diverse class backgrounds, diverse race backgrounds, to really be the next leaders of our future generations. So yeah, come to Oxford and apply.